What kind of challenges does Charlie's team present this year?
Well, they're a better offensive team, I think, than they've been in the past. A lot more three-point weapons, great distribution of scoring. But they're the same in that they're going to play you really tough. They're physical. They rely on their defense. They're hard-nosed, and they make you work for everything. So, in that respect, they're the same. But it's going to be a good game, good battle.
How did the Kobe Bryant visit come together?
That's pretty cool. No, his assistant had called me a couple of days before, so I knew he was coming, but I didn't tell the team because I didn't want them to freak out maybe during the game. Even though they saw him, he was right there in the front and center, so they could see him. But they were very, very thrilled, excited after. It was pretty neat. You know, that's an experience that they're going to remember forever, I think, and be able to tell their kids that they met Kobe Bryant. And he was nothing but gracious. Spent time with each player. Signed their shoes and took pictures and talked to them a little bit about their own games, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Do you take that as a compliment to your team and your game when you see guys at the absolute peak of the profession want to spend time around you and are fans of your game?
No question. His daughter plays with a couple other girls, you know, and their families came to the game, and they came because they love the Ducks, were their favorite team, and so that's why he wanted to meet us after the game, and I thought that made me feel pretty good. But secondly, he didn't do it just for a photo opportunity. I think he really does enjoy the women's game, and I think that's the most important thing I learned. You know, he knows what's going on, and I saw him during the game. I shouldn't have been, but we did have a little cushion, but every once in a while we'd make a play and he'd kind of nudge the kids next to him and say, hey, see, that's how you do it, and that made me feel pretty good.
Bit of an early recruiting pitch then, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll stay away from the recruiting component for a while. But no, the girls are still too young for that.
So looking at, you know, you've talked a lot about the depth of this team, running 7-8 deep, but there's still a team that performs at a high level with that number. Sabrina said you've done a great job so far kind of managing practice, managing where energy's out in practice, and we kind of can see it with the guys' team. They're having that sort of struggle with that depth issue. What have you guys done since conferences started here to manage the energy levels, make sure no one gets too fatigued, and make sure you hold them, you know, for that March run there?
Well, what I love about Pac-12 play is there's a rhythm to it. You know exactly what days you're playing, and you can manage the week around it. So Wednesdays, like today, those are the days we like to kind of break a really good sweat, get a lot more up and down. So Wednesdays, Fridays, Sundays are the 3 days of the week. We're really kind of pushing ourselves, and it's more physical and full contact. The rest of the days, quite frankly, you know, Mondays and Tuesdays, for the most part, we just take off. You know, we run them a little bit, they lift weights, those kind of things, a lot of shooting. The days before games, we literally are running like a pro walkthrough. You know, we're trying to push them mentally and have them prepare mentally more than physically, and so far it's worked. This is a veteran team for the most part. They're very serious about you know, their goals and what lays ahead of them. So it's worked. We're going to keep with that kind of schedule.
Mentally, how do you manage this team mentally with kind of like the mainstreaming to a degree? You know, you've got Sabrina on ESPN with Neil Everett in a game week. You've got Kobe. You've got, you know, Shea Serrano on Twitter. How do you kind of keep everyone focused when all of these things around them are starting to coalesce in a way that you don't see a lot of women's basketball programs have?
Well, I tell them a couple of things. Number one, don't pay attention if you don't want to. You know, and I think a lot of them are off social media for the most part. But they should embrace it. I mean, why not? Because there's going to come a day soon when nobody's going to really want to talk to them, or they want their autographs or anything like that. So, and you know, as long as it doesn't go to their heads or the time becomes too demanding for them, these other things, I don't think it phases them. And the reality is, Sabrina and Ruthie and, you know, Satu, to some degree, they've kind of been used to it. It's been going on for a couple of years now for them, so they're used to the attention. But I haven't seen it affect them in any negative way yet.
Got to meet Terry Bradshaw too, is that right?
You guys, it was a star-studded weekend. Yes, the team didn't, but I had a Women in Flight event. I want to put a plug in for Women in Flight. You know, it's a fundraising arm here at the university, but they did an amazing event at Fox Sports Studios while we were there, and I was interviewed on stage by an MC, and during the program, the entire Fox football crew came in, and it was staged, and they were ready for it. It was a really cool deal, and got to spend time with Terry Bradshaw, who knows a lot about women's basketball. Yeah, I come to find out. But Jimmy Johnson, Michael Strahan, Tony Gonzalez. He's a really good-looking guy, by the way. Howie Long, he's a good-looking guy too. It was really cool to just meet and talk to those guys, and I really appreciate them being there.